say record.
We are live.
Now we are live. Now we are live. Literally.
I literally hit live, so we are.
You did it again.
You did it again, Jake. You're slipping.
I'm like, yes.
You had one job. Yep.
One job. No, we are live. I hit the live button. Okay. Yes. But yes, welcome everyone to our cut right here. Welcome everyone to this. Yes, welcome. We just did our intro, and yeah, so this is right here. Zach Talks Movies. We got the small zero game with us. What's going on, Zach? How you doing?
I'm doing well, man. Happy to be here. It's been a while since I've jumped on to a stream with some fellow YouTube buddies, so I'm very happy to be a part of this one.
Yeah. So yeah. But yeah, that what you were saying. Yeah, this is Roy Schneider. Yeah. I did deep fake of all of us, and I was going to. Yeah, I had an idea, but it takes so long to do. Where every time we bring a guest on, we would just put a clip like a deep fake of their face on there. But then, like I said, by the time it takes so freaking long to do.
Yeah, no kidding.
Because it's not like a 10-minute thing. It takes over an hour to do. And then also you got to reformat everything. And so it's like, it took me a whole day to do just this intro. And I'm like, damn, I was like, this is just for, but one day I'm going to do that. That's my goal, is to do that and everything. And I'm glad you come on, Zach. I said, me and you were talking about, doing something. And I said, I'm glad that I finally got you to do Scooby Doo,
Yeah, man, I'm excited. I just watched the movie like probably over a decade since I've seen it. I can't remember the last time I watched it, but I was surprised how much I remembered about it. I used to watch that thing on repeat on DVD back in 2004 or 5 whenever I watched it as a little kid.
Yeah, but before we get started to talk about this movie, let me introduce the Small Zero gang. First up is a guy who has a massive sandwich. What's going on, Ryan?
It's going great. It's interesting because, Zach, and I've been familiar with Zach for years, but we've never done anything together. So it's funny how, it's like ships passing in the night and all that, and it's taken years for us to finally get together. It's finally nice to meet you. It's always a privilege to be with you guys. And I didn't watch it over and over again, but this movie is very I have a lot of nostalgia for it, and it sparked a love of this Scooby Doo franchise that this movie pretty much caused me to watch all of the classic Scooby Doo, like Scooby Doo Where Are You, and A Pup Named Scooby Doo, and the new Scooby Doo Adventures and all that. So it starts right here for me. And it's funny how most of the people involved in this are A, still active, and B, in the case of the guy who wrote this, is a pretty big deal nowadays.
Yep. And next up is a guy who literally went to a Simple Plan concert just to hear the Scooby Doo song. What's going on, Matt?
I'm doing great. And originally I wasn't supposed to be on here, but Jake asked me to do the thumbnail, and then he believed I was guilt tripping him to come in and on, which I did not. But it's good meeting with Zach. I noticed that he supported my channel for a while now, and it's great to meet him face to face. But for my experience for Scooby Doo, growing up as a little kid, I remember watching the reruns of the classic episodes of Scooby Doo, and I enjoyed them. And at the time when this movie was about to get announced, and I saw the poster when I went to a theater, and knowing that they're going to do a live action Scooby Doo adaptation, I was like, wow, I did not expect that. And I didn't even watch this when it was in theaters at the time. I only watched it when it was on VHS tape, and ended up really enjoying it. And Matthew Little, who's playing Shaggy in this movie, I mean, I only knew him one movie before this, was a movie called 13 Ghosts of that horror film. And when I watched the original Scream movie, that he was part of the main character, I was like, wow, Shaggy's playing one of the Ghostface killers in the original Scream. That's just surreal. And because we have these 3 actors like Matthew Littler and Sarah Michelle Gellar and Freddie Prinze Jr., all 3 of them have been in the slasher movies like Scream and I Know What You Did Last Summer. And I ended up enjoying Scooby Doo, and I always watched it over and over again when it was on cable at the time.
Yeah. Matt. Matt was just pulling my arm to come on here. He was like,
I literally forgot that James Gunn did the screenwriting.
Did somebody say VHS?
You got the VHS of that movie? I think
you still have that?
Yeah. At the library I work at, sometimes people bring in VHSs, and we can't sell them because they're obsolete. So my boss is like, if you were to go through it, I wouldn't be opposed. So I grabbed the ones I like, and this was one of them.
Nice.
So, Zach, when did you first? So you've seen this movie for a while. What is your thoughts on this movie, Zach? Like seeing going into this movie.
I watched it a lot as a kid, and as a kid, it's just Scooby Doo. I watched it for Scooby Doo and the fun antics and stuff like that. But like I said, I hadn't seen it in quite some time. So watching it as an adult today, I actually really appreciated how much they put into the movie. Where when you look at Scooby Doo, Where Are You? They're not really personalities or really characters. They're more like just roles. Like Fred is the leader, Daphne's the cute girl or whatever, and then Velma's the smart girl. And they all kind of play these roles, and it's very formulaic. And when I was watching the movie, I literally watched it this morning. It was interesting to see how Freddie Prinze Jr., Sarah Michelle Gellar, and what's Cordellini? What's
Linda Cordellini?
Linda Cordellini. How much they contributed to the characters and had to make them not just their own, but really flesh them out as people. And that was something I actually really appreciated going back and looking at, because Matthew Lillard, I think, not only does he steal the show, but he also is somewhat giving the I don't want to say the easiest job, but Shaggy was a more defined character within the old cartoon, where he was just kind of, he had more going for him. He had his buddy Scooby Doo. We know that he likes to eat food with Scooby Doo, and he was always scared of everything. So Matthew Lillard kind of plays that almost to a T in the movie itself. So I feel like he had like the most of a blueprint for his character, where I feel like the other three really had to figure out what they were going to do. And of course, James Gunn contributing that to the screenplay as well, were things that, I don't pick up as a kid. As a kid, I'm there for Scooby Doo. And Scooby Doo himself, seeing how this was 2002, I think he still works excellent in the film. And they definitely are able to bring the essence of the cartoon to life with the Scooby Doo moments in the film. So overall, I think that it's a pretty good translation and adaptation of the source material while doing something new and transformative with it.
Matt, what'd you think?
Yeah, I really enjoyed it more and more I watch it, even as an adult. I mean, it really just plays off more of the meta commentary of the Scooby-Doo without trying to be too goofy and over the top. And how, like, they wanted to take these characters and try to modernize it in today's world. And I really enjoy that type of thing. And I think that the cast was great. I thought they had a great on-screen chemistry, how different it was. And some of the characters like Shaggy, he's always been playing more of a goofball who eats a lot with Scooby and gets scares all the time, but he added a lot more stuff to the story.
Ryan, what do you think?
So like I said, I've always had a soft spot for this movie, and it still remains true. Like I said, I like all of the performances. They all bring it. I'm going to say something potentially very controversial, but here goes. I actually prefer Monsters Unleashed over this. And I have a case.
You what? Huh?
Zach, you'll quickly realize that the power goes directly to Collins's head, and he plays around with our microphone.
I did that to Matt one time. He had a bullshit meeting. I was like, what? Huh? He's like, no, Brian.
Monsters Unleashed feels more like a Scooby-Doo story than this one. Now, don't get me wrong. This is a Scooby-Doo story. All the elements are there. They're present and accounted for. However, I don't like how they broke up the team only to be like, well, they're going to get back together again. I wasn't a fan of it then, and I'm still not a fan of it now. I still like the movie. I still have a lot of nostalgia for it. Like I said, like the performances, think the essence is there. I just think there are choices made that I just still I've never liked, and I still remain true to this day. Monsters Unleashed was way more of a Scooby-Doo story. If you're talking about pure Scooby-Doo, Monsters Unleashed got the essence way more. But if we ever do Scooby-Doo 2, then I'll be happy to defend myself there.
Okay. Which, it's funny, that Scooby-Doo, in Ryan's defense, Scooby Doo was the original movie that was written by James Gunn. Was not even. This is the craziest thing. I was looking this up. I'm like, I was so shocked to find this out. This was written for an R rating. Like originally, this was meant to be a meta commentary on the movie. Like, in fact, Shaggy was a pothead in the first draft.
I could see that.
And he says that Fred was like ambiguously gay, and so was Velma. But then, like, the studio originally like signed off on it. So the studio greenlit this, and then they realized after when Charles Roven came out as producer, he goes, "Yeah, we're not doing this." Like, he goes, "No, he told James Gunn, you need to rewrite this because a lot of this stuff is like we cannot sell this to kids." And he goes, "It's not meant to go to kids. It's meant to be like," he says, like in Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back, where they find the mystery machine. That's imagine that as an hour and a half joke. That's literally what we're meant to do. And then James Gunn rewrote it. And then, of course, he said, like, the whole, and then the original, in the final draft, he said there was so much that was cut out the movie where he said there was a kiss scene between Velma and Daphne when their bodies swap, and Velma kisses Daphne. She's like Fred, kisses.
Is that a deleted scene? I feel like I saw something like that in a deleted scene once.
That's a deleted scene. And then on top of that, there was a reason, like the whole thing, the Coast Guard, it's like a weird scene that makes no sense in the movie where the Coast Guard picks phone and goes, "Our friends have been kidnapped." James Gunn has said that was because they infiltrated the government, the monsters have, and it was a cult of soul suckers. But then the studio was like, "Yeah, we don't want to have a cult in the movie. Can you not call them a cult?" And they said instead of soul, because that's really deals with the occult, can you call it plasmic, ectoplasmic? And so he's like, "Okay." So they had to change a lot of stuff. And he said, "Yeah," and also the villain was not meant to be like Scrappy Doo. Originally, it was meant to be the old man at the beginning of the movie to punish them for what the beginning, and that's why he's on the poster. But then they said, "No, let's make it Scrappy Doo, or something." In which James Gunn says Scrappy Doo was not even originally in the draft. We added him later, because the studio was like, "Oh, it'd be so funny, Scrappy." And apparently, that's originally.
And it shows.
There's a lot of stuff that went behind the scenes, and they were surprised that the movie opened and did so well, because this would have been one of those movies if it would have bombed. Everybody, all this stuff would have came out about this movie, all the problems and everything. And that's what Freddie Prinze Jr. even said later on. Like, every one of the cast pretty much disavowed the movie, saying it was a crap show. Like, every day they were giving us new lines, they were giving us new scenes, and like you said, they were cutting stuff out. And like, "Oh yeah, you know how you were a couple, now you're not a couple. Oh yeah, Velma, we're adding you a boyfriend in because we don't want in the original draft where you're supposed to be a lesbian, but now we're going to make you straight. So because that's like a cartoon character. So we're going to give you a boyfriend now." And this guy, and she's like, "Okay," and everything. "Oh yeah, now we're cutting that love triangle, that love scene out of the whole thing. So now basically you just meet and that's it." And just like every day they're adding new stuff and cutting stuff. That's the director of the movie's like, "I don't understand. Like, every day they have a new cut of the movie." So, which is crazy.
I'm kind of glad it wasn't R-rated. I don't know if that would have worked. Like hearing your ideas of what James Gunn was going for before the studio changed them up, I don't know if I would have been a fan of that. Like, I definitely wouldn't have been able to watch it as a kid, but even like getting older, I wonder. I don't know. I just they broke, don't fix it.
Like, there's some jokes in there still in the movie.
James Gunn is very good at his job. I mean, if you watch the Peacemaker watch parties here on this channel, we openly say that James Gunn is very good at his job. But I'm so glad that they went the family-friendly route, or near the knuckle, but not going full-on R-rated. Because keep in mind, around this time, this was released in 2002. Cartoon Network was still releasing Scooby Doo movies, like full length, like Zombie Island, Cyber Chase. Like, they were still branding this as family friendly. And if they decided to go like I don't know, like that crappy Three Stooges movie we got like a decade ago, if they went that way, it would have just done horribly. So they decided to go the straight and narrow route, and it was all the better for it.
Honestly, I kind of would have been open for an R-rated Scooby-Doo movie. If it's a hard meta commentary of a comedy, come on, dude. And James Gunn's great with comedy. I would have laughed my ass off because I grew up watching R-rated comedy all my life, dude. Like, I would be open to that idea if they wanted to do an R-rated Scooby-Doo. Come on, it would have been fucking hilarious.
It would have been like,
I bet it would, if they were to try to do it today. I think it would have worked.
It would have been like the TV show Velma that's on HBO Max.
Yeah, but James Gunn would have done a better job.
with that idea in mind, Matt, let me send you a couple of movies. One of which is called Screamboat, in which Steamboat Willie is now a serial killer, and then Popeye the Slayer Man, which is Popeye as a serial killer. So as you can see, not all kids media is meant to be R-rated. But
or don't forget the mean one where it has the Grinch as a serial killer.
Well, to be
At
fair,
least
you
that
had a
has
lot
David
of
Howard
terrible,
Thornton.
talented people behind it. If you have a talented like James Gunn, that would be a different story. It'd be a different product.
Which Zach, so like Zach, what is something what's one of your favorite moment scenes in this movie? By the way, what's one of your things that love as watching this as a kid?
Oh, as a kid, I loved the beginning because the beginning was basically just doing like what the TV show did, where Daphne was kidnapped and they're trying to set up this trap and this plan. I always loved that as a kid. I think near the end of the film, when Scrappy Doo like grows really big and is monstrous, like I liked watching that as a kid. Although I was one of those people that like I liked Scrappy Doo. Like I know that the pop cultural thing is like he was not very beloved, and that's kind of why they played on it in the movie. But I remember as a kid being kind of like upset that Scrappy Doo was the villain because I actually liked him in like the cartoon shows. But that doesn't really bother me too much anymore when I watch it, and I like the ending. And also I like all the Scooby Doo bits. I think the Scooby Doo bits are fun. Like when he gets the phone call, uh you mean Melvin do? No, Scooby, and he's got hamburgers in the woods, and they tell him to go into the woods, and the monster comes out, and when he's running away in the suitcase, I'm a suitcase, I'm a suitcase. Like I think all the Scooby bits work. I think they really captured the essence of Scooby Doo in this movie, and even though it's not like Ryan was kind of talking about like a traditional Scooby Doo adventure, which I do kind of agree with him. I do prefer the second one a little bit more because it's got like the classic monsters from the TV show brought in, and they're banded as a group, and it feels just a little bit more like the dynamic that you're familiar with from the cartoon, whereas this is all about them breaking up and kind of finding themselves and then coming back as a group again. But even like with all that, I think they did a really good job nailing the Scooby-Doo scenes, and the Scooby-Doo and Shaggy moments are also some of my favorite. Like Matthew Lillard does such a great job playing off of nothing. Like you really buy into the fact that he's there with Scooby. And like I said, even for like 2002, Scooby doesn't look too bad. Even watching it today, like there's definitely some moments where he's not 100% believable in the scene, but there's less of that than I was expecting.
I will say when I was watching, because I own the movie on Blu-ray and everything, and I was rewatching it, and I'm like, I said, the only time I've ever like noticed the CGI is whenever the monsters jump out the window when when Fred's like, there's absolutely positively no such thing.
Yeah, I will admit that. Yeah, those those little creature monsters. Those visual effects were very dated.
They don't look that great anymore.
But Scooby looks amazing.
I thought they made Scooby the most lovable character out of that whole movie, and especially when they did a great job with the marketing tool of Scooby.
Yeah,
they understood the assignment in that regard, and the effects don't look great all the time, but they look cool. And they look like they just belong on this monster.
It does play off. It does play out the whole little tone of the early 2000s trope.
Yeah.
Which one of my favorite Scooby moments is whenever Fred's like, when the dog's barking at the cat on the plane, and he goes, "All you gotta do is flick it on the nose." And he says,
"Oh yeah."
And then Scooby watches Fred in the face. He goes,
I did love the part when he was disguising himself as grandma to sneak on the airplane. That was pretty funny.
The running gag.
Everybody just like, what?
I love the running. We're looking for Scooby Doo. You mean Relvin Doo? Like Melvin Doo.
Yeah, that's a good one.
That makes me laugh every time.
I did like the part where Daphne is now proving herself that she's not the damsel in distress and that she actually knows Taekwondo, black belt stuff, where she wasn't kidding the first time she brought it up. Like, no, she can really kick ass.
I feel like that was like added in as a request of Sarah Michelle Gellar.
Yeah, that probably was. That would make, because I feel like that whole movie was not just playing off the cliche that we know these characters, that they could be just more than just one thing. Like Fred could be more than just being the good looks who was the leader, or Shaggy not just being a goofball, or Daphne who is just smart but she can be a leader as well. And Daphne doesn't want to be the damsel in distress.
You know something that sticks out to me is Sugar Ray is in this movie.
Oh
Literally, they're performing, and then I'm just like, oh yeah, Sugar Ray's in this movie, and they sing a song that's in the soundtrack for this movie. I'm like, oh yeah, Sugar Ray, and then all of a sudden you have to have that. I still think to this day, even though it's just a product placement in this movie, when Sugar Ray is literally singing to Daphne, and then his eyes are turned green, and then she gets scared and walks away. He's like, that I liked. I always thought that was great. I'm like, that was great. I don't care if it's product placement. That's awesome. You know.
It's like between this and Spider-Man, which was released the same year, it was like the year of having your artists singing songs on the soundtrack actually in your movie. Because
yeah, it's a millennial nostalgia for the soundtrack in the early 2000s
at
that
least
I
they
grew
weren't
up
finding
with.
out the product placement at the end, like in Madam Web when they're on the Pepsi billboard.
Oh yeah, God, dear Lord.
God. We do not.
And
talk
I like
about Madam Web.
I like Isla Fisher, who's playing the love interest for Shaggy. I thought she was doing good in this movie. I almost forgot that was definitely her because I remember she was in Wedding Crashers and she's been in a lot of these R-rated comedy movies.
Do you know it's crazy? She would have been if the director. Okay, she was the second best choice for Daphne. Like she had a really good audition. Yeah, the only reason she didn't get the role was because the director wanted a couple for the movie. And he said Sarah Michelle Gellar didn't even read. She just offered. They read a bunch of girls for Daphne, and they said if Sarah Michelle Gellar was just straight up offered it, and they said if she wouldn't have accepted, Isla Fisher would have been Daphne.
Oh.
So I like Isla Fisher, but it wouldn't have been the same. It wouldn't have been.
I don't really see it, no.
I was like, can you imagine her like her first role? I think honestly she's kind of glad she didn't because she says if I would accept that role, they probably wouldn't have gave me Wedding Crashers because they probably just saw me as Daphne. You know, the whole time. And so it's like, I could see it. It's like, you know what, at least, but yeah, Sarah Michelle Gellar, though, can you imagine, is not a redhead, but she had to put a wig on to be, you know, even though she's blonde. And then Isla Fisher, who is a redhead, had to dye her hair blonde. So I'm like, that to me is always funny. It's like, neither one of these girls like are this hair color, yet they have to dye their hair. So like in Spider-Man, how Kristen Dunst is a blonde, she has to dye her hair red. Emma Stone is a redhead.
Right. Even Bryce Dallas Howard, who had to dye her hair blonde for Spider-Man 3.
That's right. Yeah.
It's like, you know what? A rewrite could really change these people's characters for like just for 1 second. That way it would look more accurate. Like, hey, but yeah, Zach. So let me ask you this. When this movie came out, how old were you? Like 10?
No. When this movie came out, I was 3.
3.
Maybe just turning 3.
Oh, so you didn't get the chance to watch it in 2002.
No. I the earliest I probably I had to have been 5 years old when I first watched it, because when did the second one come out? Monsters Unleashed.
2004, right?
2004.
Okay, I must have watched it in 2004 then, because I was amped up to see Scooby Doo 2 in theaters. I didn't get to, unfortunately, but I had seen this one in anticipation to see the second one. So I saw it in 2000, like 2 years after it came out. So I was like 5 years old when I first saw this.
Was that that's such a coincidence? Spider-Man was released in 2002, then Spider-Man 2 2004. I'm like, was Warner Bros. Just following Spider-Man's release date schedule? They're like, hey, we can ride with them, guys. We got this.
Both movies made money, so clearly someone was doing something right.
So they'll do a sequel every 2 years.
I'm willing to bet Spider-Man Scooby Doo 3 would have came out in 2007. I'm willing to bet that's what would have their plan would have been.
One thing that I found interesting was that all the actors are kind of playing against their own type, I guess you could say. It's like Freddie Prinze was just known for like, I Know What You Did Last Summer, things like that. He's different here.
He's all that.
Sarah Michelle Gellar, same thing. She's different here. I mean, Matthew Lillard was the guy from Scream. Like, it's getting human in here, man. Like, he's more.
I feel a little woozy in here.
That's the one. I messed up the quote. I'm sorry. Even the cough villain, Rowan Atkinson, for years was Bane, but here he's the complete opposite of that.
Yeah, you had Mr. Bean playing the main villain.
So
that was an inspired choice. That was an inspired.
I think it had. I think it was like after Scooby Doo when he did Mr. Bean, or maybe before. I don't know. I could.
No, it's before.
That. Yeah. Okay. You're right.
In the 80s right. For Mr. Bean.
Yeah, he was doing Johnny English and like other things. Yeah. So he had left Mr. Bean like way behind. Not that
he created Mr. Bean on the stage, like even before the show came out. He was on the stage doing Mr. Bean.
He did it at Oxford.
Right.
Because he's English. Yeah. So what were you saying, Zach?
I was going to say one of my most significant memories about this movie is that like I hadn't seen Zombie Island or Witch's Ghost at this point. I don't believe I did, because one of the reasons I was allowed to watch Scooby Doo in the first place is because every monster ended up being just a guy in a mask. Like I grew up in a Christian household, so like anything to do with like monsters and ghosts and ghouls and all that kind of stuff, especially when I was a young kid, were like off limits. Like even Power Rangers was off limits because it was like
What?
magic.
What?
Yeah, because it was like magic and stuff like that. It was a very conservative, very Christian household, which I'm thankful for in the end. Like I don't say that with like any kind of like, you know,
Sure.
negativity attached to it. My parents were great, but and it was good for my faith overall. But one of the reasons I was allowed to watch Scooby Doo is because every ghoul and monster ended up being someone in a mask. So I remember this being a very significant thing for me because it was the first one that I saw where the monsters were real. Like this wasn't just people in masks. Like these monsters were a real deity that they're bringing back through this cult. And I just remember that being a very significant thing for me as a kid, being like, "Oh, this is something I'm allowed to watch, but at the same time, this is stuff I'm not supposed to be watching." And I just remember that being a significant thought in my mind. And I don't think my parents ever like screened it or found out that it was real monsters. Like they just kind of, "Hey, it's Scooby Doo. Here, watch this, kid. Like you like Scooby Doo, so watch this."
Yeah.
And I don't think they were aware that the monsters were real. Otherwise, I don't think they would have allowed it in the house.
Zach,
I mean-
you pulled a fast one on him.
I pulled a fast one on them. Yeah, absolutely.
I remember, I also grew up in a religious household, and I still practice it, you know, and everything. I'm a man of faith, and so yeah, my parents were never like that. Really, with like with that, their only type with that is with horror and comedies, like Austin Powers. They had to watch it first to see if I was before I was allowed to watch it. But like I had some neighbors that were like they were like that, exactly like that, where they weren't allowed to watch Harry Potter because it deals with
My rebellious act when I turned 18 was I went and bought Harry Potter on Blu-ray and watched all 8 films because I was never allowed to watch them growing up.
Oh,
So when I turned 18, I was like, all right, my parents can't control me. I'm watching Harry Potter.
Watch it, Mom. Guess what I'm doing? Okay, all the other kids.
My
getting drunk,
parents,
I'm watching Harry Potter.
my parents are Catholic, and they're not like very like hardcore religious at all. But they allowed me to watch a lot of crazy shit as a kid. I mean, they did not care if I watched R-rated movies because when I was 5, they put on T2. When I was 5, watching them, they did not care. It's like, hey, put on something that could be entertain them, and that's how I grew up watching as kids. I grew up watching like Spider-Man, X-Men, Power Rangers. Like I was going nuts.
I'm the middle child, so my parents got
You're
way
not
more
the only one.
relaxed
I'm the middle child too.
with my younger brother, like everything was at his fingertips. Like my parents got way more relaxed as time went on. But for me, when I was growing up, they were very anal on the stuff that I was watching. So, which, you know, in the end, like I don't have any negativity towards. But this was definitely one of those movies where it was an IP that I was allowed to watch, but yet it was doing things that I wasn't allowed to watch. And I just remember being a kid thinking that was like kind of a cool little getting away with type thing.
Did you know that Rowan Atkinson, who was playing the main villain in Scooby Doo, he was the guy who voiced Zazu in the original Lion King movie?
Yeah.
Yes.
Not until I got older, but I do know that now. Yes.
Did you know that Tim Curry was the original choice for the villain in Scooby Doo, but he hated Shaggy so much that not Shaggy, but Scrappy so much that he says, "I cannot fathom doing this movie."
I love Tim Curry.
And he thought they would budge, but they did. They said, "Nope, there's a door," and they got
that probably would have been too on the nose, though. Like if Tim Curry was one of the suspects. Like I think it
was that one of the year? I think that was like when Scary Movie 2 came out in 2001, and then he filmed that at the time. I think
he chose Scary Movie 2 over Scooby Doo, which I don't care.
He was hilarious in Scary Movie 2.
I'm sure he's like, I did this over this. I might have made a poor career choice on that end. Even though I think he did great in Scary Movie 2, but like I'm sure box office wise, he's like, I made a poor career
I swear to God, Tim Curry looked like my uncle. I'm not even joking.
We got to
take away from the accent.
Before we go further, I got a comment from Jeremiah. Said, "Welp, I just paid $4 to watch this infamously bad film for the first time. I am money managing 7." Hi, you guys? Hi, Ryan. How are you all?
Hey, Jeremiah. Pay attention to my channel. Scary Mania 6 starts tomorrow.
Evidently, I need to wait and find out how you are. You're 15 minutes
calling you out.
My fault.
Okay. Well, Jeremiah, thanks for the criticism. Okay, yeah. Well, to be fair, I was trying to set it for a certain time, and it would not go to that time on the StreamYard setup, and it would either go an hour later or an hour earlier. And I'm like, I'll just set it 5 minutes before the hour, so that way, I'm like, you know what? That way, I'll be on time. I said because it won't start. It's not like it's going to click on. But yeah, I don't know. This movie, I've always when we were little, this was 2002. We rented the movie for we rented it and then we recorded it. So my grandfather recorded it, and so we had so then we turned it to Blockbuster.
You had that blank VHS tape to record it.
Yeah,
we recorded
it, which I had done it many times before growing up.
So we went to Arizona and on a road trip, and all we watched was this and Sesame Street. All the way there. So I've seen this movie at least 40 times from before we even got to my grandmother's house. Not grandmother's, my aunt's house. And then all the way back. And I heard literally, if I wasn't hearing the Scooby Doo go like the sugar rate, and then or I was hearing 1 buddy buddy, 2 buddy buddy, 3 buddy buddy, 4 buddy buddy, and I'm like, oh god. This is what's so great about this movie is this movie does have a great soundtrack as well. Like, I mean, this movie, like, I always remember the thing that always goes in my head when I think about this movie is the cult chant, you know, like the "Oh Ricky, oh what will say to hip hop." I'm like, I don't know. I've looked everywhere. Only thing I know it's never been released. That song chant. I mean, I don't know if it was. That's just the most weirdest thing ever. It feels like, and also, do you know Shaggy worked on this movie? The actual artist Shaggy worked on this movie.
No.
That's
yeah,
hilarious.
Shaggy actually did a song for the opening credits for this movie that they cut out the movie. They did a music video for it and everything, and Matthew Lillard's in the music video for Shaggy singing the music video. And it was supposed to be, they were supposed to have an opening credits that was going to do the mystery gang running and solving mysteries and had like Freddie Prinze Jr., Matthew Lillard. And then
that'd be cool.
It's on the Blu-ray, by the way, the opening credits, the alternate opening credits. But then they cut it out of the movie because they felt like that was like for timing. Because they felt like, oh, that's an extra 2 minutes in the movie, and we want to sell seats. And
oh, come on, cut out the farting scene. Put that in.
I'm like 2 minutes. 2 minutes. I'm like, what is it with people like? They think families are gonna get tired after 2 minutes. Tom and Jerry, by the way, was like 2 hours.
Wasn't this only like an hour and 25 minutes? It wasn't that long of a film.
Yeah. There was one thing that kind of caught me off guard, by the way.
86 minutes.
There's something that caught me off guard when I was watching it. Like, they go literally whenever Scooby's like, Ruga, Paluga, like when they're on the island, and then they meet Rowan Atkinson and everything, and he goes, well, I'm going to solve them. They're like, I'm going to solve the mystery first and everything. And then he goes, we might have a Spookapalooza. Ruga, Palooza? And then it goes straight to Velma talking to one of the guards at night. And I'm like, from an editing standpoint, I'm like, wouldn't you like have like a scene where like she puts her bags down and then the sun goes down, then she sees that guard or that place, and then she walks to it. Then we get to that scene.
Yeah, they got to cut out 2 minutes. They got to get this down. They got to trim this down.
They just want to get straight to it.
Yeah.
Like, no, we got to cut out, huh? Come on, we got to sell more families. I'm like, it's like that's all.
The kids are getting bored. Trim it. You got to trim it.
Any scenes that have people, like literally, there was a dance number, by the way, with Velma that was cut out, where she like literally like the guy's playing the piano. Because have you noticed how everybody, when the piano stops, everybody's cheering and applauding? Apparently, Velma starts drinking and she starts doing a dance.
Oh, I've seen that. Yeah.
Yeah, they cut that out because they're like for timing, I guess, or I guess maybe test audiences hated it. I don't know why they cut that out. I know
there were definitely a couple moments where I had seen deleted scenes and I was expecting them to be in the movie when I was watching it this morning. And then I had to remember, oh, that was a deleted scene. Like, isn't there a deleted scene where it shows Daphne off in China training?
Yes.
Like, and she gets flung into a tree.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was waiting for that scene and it never popped up. And then I realized, oh, that was a deleted scene. There's a ton of deleted scenes.
Yeah, I think the whole point that they didn't want to show her getting trained is that you wanted to play off the suspense of like, is she full of shit that she actually trained? And until you get to the third act, she wasn't joking. It confirms that she did have training.
Yeah, I do think it plays better that way.
Yeah, I'm kind of glad they didn't show that in the movie.
Also, they showed Daphne get her soul in the deleted scene, her getting her soul taken out, and a demon jumping in her body. But yeah, they showed that all, and also they showed like Daphne running into Velma, and that's how the wrestling Macho Lucho guy Lucha Mucho guy was able to track her down was because
Mucho, whatever his name is.
Nacho Libre.
Nacho.
But as that guy was able to the guy was able to track her down was because she ran in and Velma was like apparently it was like a raunchier scene where Velma was like in a skin tight outfit and she's like, yeah, hey, and
Isn't she like in a bikini dancing in the locker room?
Yeah, apparently so it was too sexualizing, so they cut it out. Like they said, it was too sexualizing.
They did sexualize like Velma a little bit more in the third act.
Oh, they had to CGI her cleavage upward because they said
it gets even crazier in Monsters Unleashed. He wears a full-on like orange leather like jumpsuit looking thing,
looking like she's in an Austin Powers movie.
They scrapped the opening scene, but kept the scene where Scooby gets in a fart and burp.
Yep.
Priorities, yes.
Well, yes. I mean, yes. I was gonna say priorities, right? Yeah. Also,
and I remember that the actress who played Velma, like after Scooby Doo, I remember she was in an R-rated film called Grandma's Boy. I was like, I didn't even recognize that was the actress that played Velma.
Yeah. Which I think, honestly, what I like about this movie is, like, Zach, I don't know what there are some things. The only thing, what are some things that you don't like about this movie besides, like, what's some things that, like, when you watch this movie, you're like, really?
I mean, so like, it's aimed primarily for families, and it is aiming for kids and stuff. But there are like the farting sequences with, or the farting scene in particular with Shaggy and Scooby goes on a little bit too long, and there's a couple juvenile jokes in that way, and I think the plot's a little convoluted, a little bit.
That's because been cutting so much, and you know.
Yeah, I think that has to do with it too, and everything, and yeah, no, it definitely is a little bit of a messy screenplay, I'll say. Like, I don't think the narrative flows that smoothly, and I think that when we're talking about all these deleted scenes and all these changes and stuff, I think the rough ride you can kind of feel. You can kind of feel the absence of all those things, making this a little bit more choppier than I would personally like it to be. But I think the performances and the overall atmosphere make up for all that. And also I can't remove myself from the nostalgia as well. So I don't know how I would enjoy this film if I never really was that attached to Scooby Doo, and if I was watching it for the first time today, because I think nostalgia does play a lot into it. Like there's a couple performance moments that are a little bit weak, like that one moment where Fred is giving that speech and then the monster jumps through. The way he yells "monster," I thought was really bad. Like.
I thought you would have said the scene where Fred is talking like he's Jamie Kennedy from Malibu's Most Wanted. I thought whatever time the monsters. Like,
yeah, that one too. There's a couple.
Like in the scene in the movie theater, run, bitch, run! It gonna kill you.
What do the monsters think? Really, they think like, why are all the monsters all of a sudden talk like they're Eminem or something? Like, what does it do?
That was always so weird. Like, I get it, he's bewitched and all, but it's like who is this Fred? Like, he's wearing like a undershirt.
He's playing like a frat boy.
Like, yo, what up, dog?
They're showing the monsters a video from like what, the 60s of how teenagers interact. And that's what the monsters are emulating when they take over the souls of the bodies. Like, I think that's what it was doing, right? That's what they were saying when that little guy was running around the castle, and then they find that room with the classroom chairs, and then that video starts playing. Like there's just a couple things where
it does look like a little bit of a 1960s video.
8 Mile was like that.
Yeah,
teenagers talk like 8 Mile. It's like they're all just a bunch of normal people, and all of a sudden they're just like, "Yo, Rig, ball, yo." Yay.
No,
and I'm just like,
dude, they're acting like a bunch of like college frat boys and acting like they're just wannabe, like yo dog. Oh, I feel like the director watched 8 Mile a million times.
I was like, really? Or James? I think it's James, really, the director, because I'm like, I don't understand whose idea was. Oh, how do we tell Fred's different? What if he talks like he's in the know? Huh? I was like, are you sure? Like, are you sure?
It plays like that early 2000s of every trope of a white actor trying to act like they're all in the gangs.
Like he's in the
wannabe gangsters.
He's talking like John Cena when he was the Doctor of Thugonomics.
Wrestling joke. But yeah, so Matt, what was something that when you watched this movie that got to you?
Like, what do I think I should have done better, or
Yeah, what's some your critiques?
Well, a couple of my critiques, I will admit that them breaking up the team kind of felt rushed and forced. I mean, I wish they could have executed a little bit better, but I get why they wanted to do something different, because each of these characters feel like that they needed to be on the self-discovery about them finding out about themselves. And I will say that the fart jokes went on a little too long. I mean, yeah, as a kid, it was funny as shit. Watching it as an adult, just like, okay, wrapped it up. We know that the fart jokes are funny, but now it started to not be funny, and I'm ready to be done with it. The plot was, like, I agree with you, it's very convoluted and it's ridiculous. But anyway, it wouldn't matter. It's a satire movie, and it tries to be a little bit more different, because because at the time when they were trying to make this live action movie, they weren't so sure how are we going to translate this into a live action when it was made as a goofy, campy cartoon show. And I liked how different it was and how they wanted to modernize it. It kind of reminded me of the original Brady Bunch movie when they made fun of a 60s, 70s TV show sitcom back in the day.
Yeah.
Kind of reminded me of that.
They could have gone a little bit further with the meta jokes, though. Like, there was definitely like with Scrappy Doo mentioning like he should get his own show, and when he picks up Scooby at the end, and it's like, oh, you're much bigger or you're much smaller than you were on TV, and all that kind of stuff.
Did you know he in the flashbacks that he kind of just did another little meta where he's referencing the Powerpuff Girls?
Yes,
Yeah,
he
did.
a Powerpuff Girl. Yeah,
You're on Cartoon Network.
The P joke, that was a little. It was funny at first, but then it got like, okay, that was like unnecessary.
Yeah.
Ironically, the Powerpuff Girls were coming out next summer in theaters.
Oh, that's funny. Yeah, they could have gone a little bit further with that stuff. I agree.
Yeah, Ryan, I know you have critiques. What are your critiques?
Well, like I said at the start of this, like breaking up the team only to have them come back together again, I just was never a fan of that. And then having Scrappy Doo as the big reveal at the end of it, I've never liked Scrappy Doo. That's like the big popular thing that I'm like, yeah, I can definitely get behind that. Like, I never got the appeal. Like, there's a bumper on Cartoon Network years ago where it's all these characters walking into the studio and then just like walking past Scrappy, trying not to acknowledge him or getting anywhere close to him. Like, it's funnier than how I just described it. And like, he's the big bad, and then he gets like the size of like Scott Steiner in 1999, like just big, jacked and ripped. I'm just like, please, like, come on, like, what are we even doing here? And I get what you guys are trying to say. It's the whole idea of they're trying to make fun of it, but making fun of it like means acknowledging its existence. Like, Scrappy Doo's kind of a parody in and of itself. So
you know why they did it this way? Because the Flintstones made a lot of money. That's why. The Flintstones
well, the second one did not do it as much. The first one did.
And they figured, if the people didn't like the second Flintstones,
and I think people were so upset that they did not get John Goodman or the original cast back from the sequel, and they got someone from the guy from the sitcom. They got one of the Baldwin brothers to play one of those characters in the Flintstones sequel, the Las Vegas.
Hot take. I actually secretly like the Viva Las Vegas one. I actually like that better than the first one.
But here's the thing of what I liked a little bit more about this movie is because it shows you like, hey, what if the supernatural are real? Even though that what Scrappy Doo was doing was based on more of a science than more of like mystical supernatural element. And I will agree that the reveal of Scrappy Doo was a little anticlimactic. I did not like that. I feel like it was a little too stupid to me. But overall, I thought, like, yeah, it's still a fun time. There's some dark, heavy moments in that movie that felt a little creepy and it felt a little bit of the horror element, especially in that one scene with Isla Fisher when they're all when her and Shaggy are on the bike. Yeah, and he shows her monster face. That shit creeped me the hell out as a kid. I'm not gonna lie.
Well, I will say this though. What movies I think is really much darker than the studio, which I'm like, that's a dark movie compared to this movie.
Yeah,
Zombie Island.
Yes.
Zombie Island. Like, is people die in that movie.
Like, literally,
I've never seen Zombie Island.
You should.
Cartoon Network were releasing some banger Scooby Doo movies in the late 90s.
Witch's Ghost, Cyber Chase, Alien Invaders.
I reviewed The Witch's Ghost for the 1999 project. I had never seen it, and I watched it. I'm like, why is this good? Like, why is this actually good? But it's good.
The 90s Scooby's movies were the best ones, for sure.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Dude, they even did the show Supernatural episode where they had Sam and Dean crossing over to the Scooby Doo world.
Yeah,
and showing you what that was one of
Okay.
my all time favorite episodes. I
Okay, well,
That
love
was
that
amazing.
episode.
When
Did
we
you
do
see-
natural talk, you're gonna need to point out when that episode is to me because I'm
Oh
gonna
hell
lose,
yeah!
I'm gonna lose my
When-
mind.
We're definitely doing Supernatural.
When the funniest thing was, I will say this though, I don't know if it was to promote the second movie or if it was after the second movie, but they did all the cast reprised their roles for Robot Chicken, Scooby Doo episode, a segment in Robot Chicken where, like all of them, like Freddie Prinze Jr., Matthew Lillard, Linda, and Sarah Michelle Gellar, they all voice their characters and they go to Camp Crystal Lake and they all get killed by Jason Voorhees.
I gotta watch that skit. I gotta watch that now.
Fred's like, me and Daphne are gonna go have unprotected sex while you and Scooby and everybody go look. Just like, what?
That's incredible. I have to look that up.
I love them before when they did a live action Scooby Doo. They had Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back, and this was
Yes,
like a year
that's
before
funny.
its release. When they did the Scooby Doo skit, and I thought that was pretty hilarious. Like, imagine if it was R rated. I'm telling you right now, I would fucking watch it. I don't care. That would make me
Well,
laugh.
you
if
got
they
Velma
actually
for
did it.
that now.
Because if you have a better talented people to do an R rated from a kids show based on a kids show with better talented people and do it right, you would have done well. But what you brought up, Ryan, earlier about a lot of these horror movies that are based off from a Dr. Seuss movie or children's cartoon, you got shitty people just doing it for a cash in. They're not even really trying to make it look that good for an R rated version.
I actually think there is a horror Scooby Doo movie that's out.
I wouldn't be surprised if they actually already done that.
I do think there is one actually. I don't know. I saw
There
some
might
YouTube
be.
going through all the Scooby Doo movies, and they said there's one that Scooby Doo's not even in, and it's like so terrible. I'm like, why does this exist?
Isn't there like a Velma and Daphne
Yes.
spinoff?
It has nothing to do with Scooby Doo.
Yeah.
It's a Velma spinoff from HBO Max that they did, and I think they only have 2 seasons already.
Wait, no,
It's a live action movie.
Oh,
Yeah.
no, I didn't know that.
So going to ratings, Zach, what will you give this rating?
Well, what are we out of 10? Or what are we rating?
We usually do out of 10.
Yeah.
6.
What about you, Matt?
I'm giving it an 8.
What about you, Ryan?
I'm going to split the uprights. I'll go 7.
I'm gonna go 9.
Oh, wow.
I love this movie, and it's something that I would rewatch over if I could, because it's something that I love this movie as a kid, and I know there's a lot of nostalgia for it, even though I think there are some script issues. I can overlook that because I still think it's a fun story. It's not something. Is it something that's going to win awards? No, but it's a fun story. I mean, it's not like bad. It's just like it's a fun movie that you watch. You're gonna have a good time. You're not gonna get bored of it.
It's not a Shakespeare movie.
You can watch it in like an hour.
Yeah.
Put it on 2-speed.
I can rewatch the first movie more than the second one. I mean, there's moments I really enjoyed about the second one, but it just felt like we went back to being the team again, and but there's some few moments that I really enjoyed, but I feel like this first one was just a little bit more different than what we're used to.
Am I reading that right, Ryan? Am I reading that right?
He's off to do Pilates, which Jeremiah.
For a second, I thought he said he's off to do.
You enjoy, man.
For a second, I thought he said he's
your
off to do some pilots, and I'm like, well, I mean, hey, I hope you. It's like for a second, I was like, I'm pretty sure I'm misreading that.
No,
Pilates.
he said Pilates.
I thought for a second I was misreading that.
Yeah.
Zach, what do you have coming up on your channel, man?
Oh, man, yeah. Let's see here. On Friday, October 3rd, I got a ranking for the Nightmare on Elm Street films coming out. Starting a Predator review series leading up to Predator Badlands. So that's going to start with Predator on Monday, October 6th, and that'll go each Monday leading up to the week of Predator Badlands. And Halloween, I actually just watched the Halloween franchise for the very first time. So I've got a ranking video of all 13 Halloween movies coming out on October 31st.
You have my sympathy, Zach, for having to watch Halloween Resurrection.
It was rough.
Have you seen The Curse of Michael Myers? I mean, I'm pretty sure.
Yes.
He would rather that one's an easier sell than Resurrection's an easier sell than The Curse of Michael Myers.
Resurrection is quite bad. Curse of Michael Myers is quite bad. but I think Curse of Michael Myers is a little bit more of a Halloween movie than Resurrections is.
What?
But Resurrection is like this early 2000s MTV reality
Like Big Brother,
generic
but
horror
like,
film that they just kind of like plopped Michael Myers in.
yeah.
Whereas
and
Cursed,
they get-
you know,
they
it
get more
comes off of
creepy
5. It
Buster
carries over
Rhymes
some of the
than
same
Michael
stuff.
Myers.
I'm not saying it's good. I don't like either of them, but it's
Have
like
you seen
I think
Halloween Ends yet?
Halloween Ends was very disappointing and odd.
Mhm.
I didn't like it. I wasn't a fan.
Me and Matt were talking because I said he disagrees because I was like, oh, I love the Rob Zombie ones, and he was like, I hate those things. So it's
Yeah,
like,
those are my bottom. Like I'll never watch those again.
the
Thank
Rob
you.
Zombie ones.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'll never watch those again.
Not
That
even,
was a-
not-
that-
not even Halloween Ends like over the Rob Zombie ones.
No, the Rob Zombie was a complete trash.
I would easily watch Halloween Ends over the Rob Zombie ones. Easily.
That is a bald statement. I've never heard that. Usually people say, yeah, Halloween Ends is like down there.
Even
Like,
though I thought that the Rob Zombies were trash, I would rather watch the first Rob Zombie Halloween over Halloween Ends. At least it was a
I
Michael
just
Myers
Michael
surrounded.
Myers is supposed to be the freaking main antagonist of that movie, and he's
Yeah.
not.
It has
He gets
literally
his ass
nothing to
kicked
do
by
with
a
him.
teenager.
He gets his ass beat by a fucking teenage kid. Like,
Yeah.
To be fair, in Halloween Resurrections, Buster Rhymes beat his ass. So, and
that's
he just-
true.
So it's like over. But check Zach out. His channel will be in the link description below. Matt, where can they find you?
You can find my YouTube channel at MattWyatt92. I will be dropping my review of the Paul Thomas Anderson movie, One Battle After Another. I did a bunch of trailer reactions to the Marvel's Wolverine game, Avatar Fire and Ash, and Wicked for Good, so definitely check that out. And I will be doing Talking Gotham with these two guys and Peacemaker Season 2.
I just realized tomorrow we're doing Talking Gotham. I just realized that. I didn't realize it until I'm like, oh my god, we are doing that tomorrow, aren't we?
Yeah, you're like Ryan, who pretty much forgot about this
Yeah,
one.
I'm like Ryan, I forgot. Oh yeah.
I didn't forget. I had it in my
You said you
calendar.
told me. He sent text saying I forgot. I turned my
No, I
computer
did
off.
not. I did not forget. I did not forget.
My text says the otherwise, Brian. All right, what do you got coming up, man?
Anyway, Scary Mania 6 begins on my channel tomorrow. I'm going to be kicking things off with the infamous Cannibal Holocaust. Yes, that one. I watched it. And it'll just be all themed around the 80s for this time for Scary Mania 6. Collins is going to be on. Matt's going to be on. I'm going to have quite a few guests on this year. It's going to be so much fun. I always look forward to it every year. I've got something planned for November, which I think might be fun. And then I'm bringing something back that I left dormant for a year, and I'm bringing back for the month of December and Christmas. So stay tuned for all of that.
Well, I have. I just this. I'm gonna try to upload this week. This edited version, and then of course I will have where me and Blacktastic are doing. What's it called? Megan 2.0. We're dropping that Friday, so yeah, that's gonna be fun. I haven't watched it yet.
Here's the thing: Black Tacit had no hesitant to pick Megan 2.0 so he can rip on it.
I have not seen his review. I have his review already. He already sent it to me.
Well,
It's
did he?
sitting
I don't
on-
even know.
on my
What did he
computer.
thought about that movie? Did he not like it or something?
I have not watched his review yet. It's sitting on my computer. I'm gonna watch the movie first, and then I'm gonna go listen to
I
his
think I
review.
remember correct. I think he did like it. I think we did talk about that off camera that he did
I
not
don't
mind
know.
it.
I
I
haven't
could be.
watched his
I don't
review
know.
yet.
I could be wrong.
But yeah, that's gonna happen. And then of course Dave and Turpin Stars, we're gonna review some movies, and Stephanie and everything, and these guys and everything. Thank you. Yeah, thank you so much though. Zach, thank you so much for coming on, man. I'm
The
so
honor
glad
was all mine, dude. Thank you so much for having me.
All right. Thank you. If you guys can give these guys some love, follow them. Hey, description below. By the way, hey, Joshua. Yeah, thank you so much. And remember, okay, always do something for a Scooby snack. Take care, guys.